The movie begins with a cinematic flashback, set in a prehistoric tropical region during the early Ice Age. A once flourishing jungle ecosystem, home to giant sloths, feathered dinosaurs, mammoth-sized birds, and glowing crystal flora, is suddenly buried by a massive glacial shift. As the ice covers it, the jungle is frozen in time. In the present day, subtle tremors and melting fissures reveal glowing cracks forming in the glacier above this long-lost world, hinting at its reawakening. Sid has gone back to what he thinks he does best, babysitting. Unfortunately, the results are as chaotic as ever. He's watching over a dozen unruly baby animals, including a saber-toothed pup, a mini armadillo, and a hyperactive beaver. While trying to keep them entertained, Sid leads them on a nature walk that ends with him accidentally falling into a fissure. Down below, he glimpses a glowing jungle beneath the ice. He returns terrified and awestruck. Manny, now older and more cautious, spends most of his time worrying about Peaches, who now has a child of her own. She and her partner Julian are talking about leaving the valley in search of warmer climates. Manny struggles with the idea of letting go. His overprotectiveness causes tension with Peaches, who insists he must learn to move on and accept the changing times. Diego and Shira rescue an abandoned saber-toothed cub found near a melting glacier edge. Though initially hesitant, the cub melts Shira's heart, and even Diego begins to show his softer side. The two must face a difficult decision: keep living the adventurous life or settle down and raise a family. Shira wants to adopt, but Diego isn't sure he's ready to give up the action. Ellie begins sensing a change in the environment. She notices strange behavior in birds, irregular wind patterns, and distant rumblings in the ice. Though no one believes her at first, she is proven right when a massive crack splits a glacier in half. The valley is shifting, and Ellie suspects the last ice sheet is starting to melt. Buck makes a grand entrance, bursting up from beneath the snow on the back of a prehistoric mutant beetle. He announces that he has returned from his underground adventures because something big is waking up beneath the ice. Buck has been tracking seismic activity and magical fluctuations from the hollow deep, the ancient frozen jungle Sid saw, and warns the herd that something terrifying is about to emerge from it. As temperatures rise, a massive section of the glacier collapses, revealing the jungle frozen inside. Plants begin to unfreeze and come back to life. Insects the size of dogs crawl out of tree trunks, glowing vines regrow in real time, and enormous tracks are spotted leading away from the jungle's edge. It is clear that the hollow deep is no ordinary ecosystem, it's a prehistoric biome reborn. The apex predator of the hollow deep reveals itself, Titanes, a massive terror bird with black feathers, glowing eyes, and deadly intelligence. Titanes immediately establishes dominance by leading a pack of thawed carnivores and claiming a new hunting ground, the valley. The herd realizes this isn't just a wandering beast, it's an invasive predator leading an ecosystem that could destabilize everything. Meanwhile, Scrat discovers a second acorn, encased in the newly melted terrain, sitting atop a glowing crystal pedestal. As Scrat tries to pry it loose, he unintentionally activates a hidden mechanism tied to the core crystal of the hollow deep, causing further cracks in the glacier and even minor time warps. Scrat spends the film bouncing between realities, trying, and failing, to keep hold of both acorns. With the valley in danger, the herd must help evacuate animals to higher ground. Manny struggles with letting Peaches take leadership of the migration. Ellie convinces him that it's time for the next generation to lead. Peaches organizes the evacuation, while Manny, Diego, and Buck form a separate group to find a way to stop the jungle from fully thawing. Buck proposes a wild idea: travel into the hollow deep, recover the core crystal, the glowing energy source of the ancient jungle, and use it to either refreeze the ecosystem or stabilize it. The journey will be dangerous, and the deeper they go, the less physics seems to apply. Peaches volunteers to join the mission. Manny is reluctant, but finally lets her go, his first real act of trust. The jungle is now partially thawed. Inside, the group faces massive glowing fungi, prehistoric insects, and vines that react to movement. Peaches proves a capable leader, rescuing Sid from a plant that mimics voices. Buck leads them through winding tunnels toward the core, while Diego and Shira fend off giant cave scorpions. The jungle becomes almost dreamlike, with strange time loops and mirror geography. Above ground, Titanes attacks the migrating animals. The herd, including Ellie, Manny, and the new baby animals, fights to defend them. The battle is intense, with Titanes using tactics and traps learned from its ancient world. Manny, though older and slower, charges into the fray, earning Titanes' attention in a brutal one-on-one showdown. After years of being a comic nuisance, Sid finally proves his worth. In the jungle's core, he finds the crystal chamber, but it's crawling with predators. He uses distraction, misdirection, and dumb luck to get the creatures away from the others. In a rare moment of courage, he retrieves the core crystal and activates its cooling energy, which begins to refreeze parts of the hollow deep. The jungle begins collapsing in on itself as the core regains control. Buck gets trapped beneath debris and insists that the others leave him behind. "Someone has to keep the gates sealed," he says. Peaches and Diego refuse, managing to lift the wreckage and save him. The moment reinforces the idea that no one is ever truly alone in this herd. Titanes, sensing its world is ending, flies into a rage and charges the herd one final time. Manny, Peaches, Diego, and Ellie coordinate an ambush, using a frozen canyon to trap the bird. Peaches lures Titanes in, Manny collapses an ice wall, and the others freeze it mid-charge with a fragment of the core. Titanes becomes a towering frozen statue. Peace is restored. The hollow deep is sealed once more under ice, but monitored by Buck. The valley returns to normal, but the herd is changed. Peaches and Julian decide to stay nearby rather than leave, choosing family over distance. Manny realizes that change isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Diego finally opens up to the idea of raising the cub, who's now bonded with both him and Shira. They name her Luna, and she quickly becomes a mischievous, sharp-toothed addition to the family. Buck appoints himself her honorary mentor, which mostly results in chaos. Scrat retrieves the second acorn, only to activate the crystal again and get sucked into a portal that drops him into a frozen asteroid. He watches the acorn float just out of reach. When all hope seems lost, he notices a third acorn buried nearby. Hope rekindled, he resumes his eternal chase. The final scenes show the new herd, Peaches leading, Manny and Ellie relaxing, Diego and Shira with Luna, and Sid starting a heroic babysitting service with actual success. Buck watches over the glacier crack, keeping guard. The camera pans out as the sun sets, while Buck's voice narrates, "We came from ice. We came through chaos. But no matter what melts away, we stick together." A snowflake lands on the screen, and the credits roll.